This is a video response to Unleaded Logic's How Much is Too Much. In that video, he was referring to talking to gamers and asking them the question, how much is too much in your gaming collection? I think, well, he was talking to gamers and people that collect in general. Um, and I've asked myself that question. How much is too much? Do I have enough? Am I satisfied? And at one point I was satisfied. But then I kept watching uh, the gaming community on YouTube, listening to the All Gen Gamers podcast, TV and Lust podcast, um, and a few other podcasts that are featured on the All Gen Gamers website. And they're not bad people, but it is very, it's very interesting to listen to these conversations and find out, what classic games are good. And I've had some great memories with some very good games, so I don't really need all these podcasts to tell me which games are good and bad. But it's nice to have that, to hear that from, and I say this lightly, or in quotations rather, experts of video games talking about that kind of stuff because you trust them. Anyways, I asked myself that very question not that long ago. How much is too much? Am I satisfied with what I have in my gaming collection? I actually considered selling off my collection in parts, Sega Genesis collection in its entirety. The PS3 games that I currently don't play, I considered selling those several times. Selling my PS2 and all its games, the Game Boy Advance that I recently acquired, thought about selling that and its games, which is incredible because I usually don't do that with stuff have haven't had that long. And also at one point considered selling off my entire video game library, the physical library though, and then just sticking to playing PC games, most notably Steam games and games on GOG because they're so fast. This new computer of mine is so fast to boot and boot up a game. It takes a few minutes at the most. And a lot of gamers like that convenience. Some don't like the fact that if you download a game, you don't have the physical copy, you don't have the physical artwork, you don't get all the special items that come with those special versions of the game, or you know a pre-order bonus. You don't get that most of the time with digitally downloaded games. But then the question comes, do I have too much of that? Because some people, I talked to a guy at work and he had 2,000 digitally downloaded games off of Steam. I was just like, holy shit. You know, it's amazing how fast someone can um, have their collection grow and get out of hand, and then it gets to the point to where you lose that girlfriend, wife, the kids, your immediate family, or blood family you can lose them too. Some people simply don't understand why we have amassed these huge collections of video games. I don't have a huge collection, but I have quite a bit. And over the past 5 or 6 years, I've collected a good amount of video games that comes out to a pretty good cost. It's not a crazy number, but it's a number that I'll sit back and think about and think, instead of collecting all this, I could have bought a new car or repaired the vehicle that I have now a little bit more. And it's not that I don't like the gaming community here. It's just all thoughts. When you have time to sit back and think about things, your life and what you've done with it. I'm not ashamed of what I've done, but you know, I definitely have great fond memories attached to these video games that I've repurchased. I've basically repurchased half my childhood in purchasing these classic video games. It's silly to even think that I thought about selling them off, um, considering the amount of money I've spent on these games. But have you ever asked yourself, do I have too many things in my collection or collections? I actually have collections. That first started with CDs, music CDs, comedy, music records, vinyl or wax, if you want to call it that. I mean, a lot of people do. Um, I also started collecting memorabilia from Comic Con, collector's cards, um, different art from some of the vendors there, as well as stuff that memorabilia and swag that I got at the Comic Con event, the Sci-Fi Expo, and a local college football game, TCU Frogs. So it's really cool to have other things in the collection other than the stuff that I've um, been collecting for the past 5 or 6 years or more. Um, it's quite amazing how much my collection has grown. Last year alone, I probably bought, I would say, close to 150 to 200 items alone, and that the process of collecting like a madman started for me. I think that was in February of last year, and that lasted until I kept collecting until about late December, and haven't collected for almost 2 months now, or added anything to my collection. Um, the reason I slowed down was because I lost a job that I thought was going to last, and I'm very nervous about how the economy is doing and how things can take a turn for the worst. If you're into politics, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to get into that on here. Maybe on my other channel, and I'm still going to. I'll talk about this in the video, but it's really see here's some of those collections I was talking about. I'm actually going to add some things to my list of things I'll be collecting. The art books and art concept books for video games, as well as the promotional items for video games. I'll be starting a little collection on that and display it as well. Um, I may start buying some more classic boxed video games, Super Nintendo games, Game Boy Advance. It's really neat to have everything that came with that game because it just brings back memories or it creates new ones. And I've actually bought, all the games from my childhood back, I believe, except for a few games. And then I bought even more, stuff that I didn't play on these older systems. And it's really cool to be able to do that. Um, I'm not again, I'm not ashamed of, you know, what I've bought and what I've done with my life. I think I'm happy where I'm at. Some people are actually unhappy when they collect too much. Then they're overwhelmed, and I have felt overwhelmed at times because I have so many games. And it's like, what do I play today? And I think, okay, I can play this, this, and this, and I think of probably 20 or 30 games, and it's incredible. um, some collectors can get depressed very easily, even though they have all this entertainment right at their fingertips. Um, it's interesting, and there's a case for a game, all the incarnations of the Game Boy. I think that's custom made. That's really cool. I wish somebody would make that like something like that for me. That'd be cool. Um, but I'm gonna try and make one video a week, or one video every 2 weeks. It's kind of difficult since I do have a full-time job. We're required to work as much overtime as we possibly can. Me being the new guy, I have to work overtime pretty much whenever they ask. So we're pretty busy right now. So I enjoyed making this video, and if you guys have any questions or comments on this topic or a video response, feel free to do that. And watch out for more videos from me. I'll definitely be making a lot of videos this year, much more than last year. So thanks for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And most of all, enjoy what I have to offer here. Thanks, guys.